All right, this is our first set of solve by factoring as we do this. So it is built on an idea that we don't just factor, but we factor and then we do an extra step. So we're trying to get into our multiple parentheses and then set each parenthesis equal to 0 and then solve. So let's start real basic right here. So once I've gotten it down to 2 parentheses like this one, so no factoring needed, then the only way this whole left side can equal 0 is if group 1 equals 0 or group 2 equals 0. Because imagine, if you will, you would have 0 times, it doesn't even matter what this number is, because 0 times anything equals 0. Or you're going to have a number times 0. And it doesn't matter, again, what those numbers are, because if you multiply by 0, you get 0. So there's what we're building on, okay? So let's take that to the sense of, then if I need to figure out what value of m would create this group to be 0, so 3m plus 5 would need to equal 0. So let's subtract 5 from both sides, and then we're going to get 3m, that goes away, equals negative 5, and then I am going to divide by 3 on both sides, and then I'm going to get m equals negative 5/3. That's one answer. But we have a whole second answer that's going to be 5m minus 7 equals 0. And then I'm going to add 7. So then I get 5m is equal to 7. And then I'm going to divide by 5, and I'm going to get m is equal to 7/5. And it's okay to leave these as decimal or fractions. It totally works. So we actually get both of these answers. Both work because this came from a quadratic equation where it created two groups. All right, let's try the next one. Okay, it's already been factored. Here we go. Two answers in here, right? What makes the first one, what makes the second one equal 0. So literally just set each group equal to 0 and solve. So v, that's not a v, v equals 2 and v equals negative 2. There you go. Okay, so that's where we're trying to get to, but it's not quite there yet. So here are the rules. First, when we are trying to solve by factoring, be sure that the right side is equal to 0. Then take everything on the left side and factor it. This is just what you did last unit. So literally factor this thing. So I'm going to use my speed technique here. Two things that multiply to negative 2 and add to 1. So we're going to get p and p, negative 2 and 1. Let's go positive 2 and negative 1. And that still equals 0. Now we got it down to this group. If it equals 0, we got 0. If this group equals 0, we got 0. So p equals negative 2. There's a possible. P equals 1. There's another possible. All right, let's move on. Here we go. Oh, this is one of the special ones, right? Notice the middle is missing. If you want to, if you need to, m squared plus 0m, because it's missing, minus 1 is equal to 0. If you need to do it that way, that's fine. But speed technique, here we go. Or again, I'm still making sure it's equal to 0. There's speed technique. I'm going to go m plus 1, m minus 1. All right, set each one equal to 0. We're going to get m equals negative 1, m equals positive 1. Good, good. Let's do two more. Let's try these here. Okay, this one here. Now remember, our number one technique in factoring is always to see, can I factor out a greatest common factor? It's already equal to 0 on that side, so we're good. How about we factor out a b? So I'm going to get b plus 1. Remember, this is, if you divide b by b, you get 1 equals 0. All right, so instead of two groups, you got this thing outside of a group. So this thing equals 0 if this is equal to 0. So if b equals 0, well, there's one answer. And then what about b plus 1 equals 0? So b equals negative 1. So I get two answers, 0 and negative 1. All right. Let's give this last one a shot here. All right, I see no number in front. We already got the 0 on one side. We are ready to rock and roll. Speed technique. Two things to multiply to 8, add to 9. M plus 8, m plus 1, still equals 0. Set your groups equal to 0. M plus 8 equals 0. M equals negative 8. M plus 1 equals 0. M equals negative 1. And we're good. Check those answers. See how you did.